with The Guardian. I believe we're going to start on this one. Dramatic late Joselu double sends Real to Wembley final. Henry, you've written some brilliant stories. Anything to compare with that drama tonight? What did you make of it?
Well, I mean, it's almost got echoes of Barcelona and Manchester United against Bayern in '99. I mean, not maybe. Well, I mean, that was obviously the final, but I think the later editions would all be focusing on Tuchel. From an English perspective, obviously, why do you take Harry Kane off? I mean, 5 minutes to go, you don't take Harry Kane off, particularly if there's a chance of the game going into extra time and then penalties. You need Kane on there. Kane was fit; he was fine. You know, I could understand Musiala coming off because he was cramping up. But the German media will be all over Tuchel. And also Neuer. I mean, Neuer's mistake, he didn't hold for the equaliser. He didn't hold Vinicius's shot and Joselu, formerly of Stoke and Newcastle United. I don't know how fondly he's remembered there. Martin will cover off the Newcastle side, but I saw him at Stoke, and I mean, he's not really a Stoke legend, but anyway, extraordinary. But those headlines, I'm sure, will change because the Tuchel's decision on Kane was just bizarre.
Yeah, Martin, what's your take on that? There's a big picture of Harry Kane on the back page of The Sun. Real sickener. Kane subbed as Joselu takes Jude to Wembley. Was there logic in trying to lock up shop?
As Henry has alluded to there are so many talking points from this game. I'm sure we'll kind of glorify Real Madrid and what this competition means to them and the fact that they just never ever seem beaten. I'm sure we'll come to Joselu as well, this kind of a forward who scored 10 goals in 66 games in English football for Stoke and Newcastle and was never a crowd favourite at either stadium. But in the 85th minute, Thomas Tuchel, and Matt Lord, my colleague, did the story in the Times last week about him being one of the front runners for the Manchester United job. In the 85th minute, you thought Tuchel's survived a really difficult year at Bayern. The league form's been poor. But here he is, he's 5 minutes away from beating Real Madrid at home and getting Bayern Munich to play in the Champions League final against Borussia Dortmund, a game that they would have been the favourites to win. I think Dortmund were about 24, 25 points off top place in the Bundesliga. And everything in his life seemed great. And then he made this substitution and you just thought, why are you taking Harry Kane off? I know what to say about a cramping issue from Musiala, but you've just absolutely obliterated your strike force. Kane can hold the ball up. I've never ever known fatigue in games. He can win fouls. And as Henry said, there's a chance this game is going to head to a penalty shootout. And you want like the ice cold penalty shootout king that is Harry Kane to be in amongst them. And he took them both off. And he thought, you've just given everything away here to a team that is noted for coming on late. As it happens, I think we played, 15, 16 minutes of injury time. So there was 20 minutes left in the game when he made those substitutions. And pretty much from there, Tuchel, this might be a sliding door moment for Thomas Tuchel because he is a harder sell to the Manchester United fans as the failed Bayern Munich manager who blew the chance to beat Real Madrid at home. And he then makes that decision within a matter of minutes. There's a mistake by his goalkeeper who's 38, Joselu who's 34. It does feel a little bit like we're kind of in strange financial times for football. I mean, it kind of feels like the austerity Champions League when we've got Joselu coming on and Eric Dyer playing and Boateng playing, the former Stoke player, and we've got all these players having key moments in the competition. Neuer makes two mistakes for the first goal, and before you know it, the 90,000 with the roof shut at the newly finished home of Real Madrid is going berserk, and the second goal comes. I think about 5 minutes later, Tuchel gets booked. Another member of his staff got booked late in the game. Now he has to face the German media and the implications from the English media. And now he is a harder sell to become the next manager of Manchester United when we think Erik ten Hag leaves. So the implications from tonight from many perspectives are huge.
What about Carlo Ancelotti, Henry? Martin talking about the stats of Joselu in English football. He lets Karim Benzema go to Saudi last summer, brings in Joselu, gets him to a Champions League final. Ancelotti can do no wrong, can he?
The most successful manager and player probably in history, I think. And also one of the nicest, most conscientious, most perspective-filled managers that you could ever meet. I mean, he was famous with the English press pack. Whenever he saw us, he would just sort of recommend restaurants for us to go to. I mean, he's just a very incredibly civilized man. You saw his celebration at the end. There's a lot of sort of grace and dignity to him. So he should absolutely be celebrated for his achievements as a wonderful player, as a wonderful coach, and as a wonderful man. I mean, to deal with the Real Madrid job, and also we're talking about calmness. I mean, I don't know if you saw Jude Bellingham's interview afterwards, but there's not a shred of nerve in him. I mean, he's just absolutely remarkable. So, look, there are two sides to this. Again, this sort of English-centric story as we're casting it. The sort of the Kane disappointment, but Bellingham, the emotional element of going to Wembley to play Jude's joy. You see it there. He's in Wembley final, but it's pain for Kane. So he's in Wembley final against his old team, against one of his friends in Sancho as well. So, there's going to be so much focus on that. I mean, I guess the one good thing for Southgate is that Harry Kane, his most important player, gets a rest. But Jude Bellingham, and he was just fantastic tonight. It wasn't so good, I thought, in the first leg, but, there's something about him and Real Madrid. He was talking about the fact that he feels at home here, a little bit like Sancho with Dortmund. But he's just at one there. Clubs of that size can crush players. But he's got the strength of character, and England are lucky to have him in Real Madrid as well. So Jude's joy sums it up.
What about the column inches, Martin, that are going to be written about Jude Bellingham? Do you anticipate ahead of this final at the home of English football against his former club, Borussia Dortmund? It's quite a dramatic tale in the making.
The one thing with Jude, well, there's lots of things with Jude Bellingham, but you just have to remind yourself how young he is when he speaks. He seems to have the maturity of about a 30-year-old. He plays with that kind of knowledge as well. And touching on Carlo Ancelotti, perhaps we're going through a period where the manager on the sideline who's successful doesn't have to go bananas and start ranting and raving. I think it was about 75 minutes gone in that tie. And he kind of characterised coolness, believing in his team. And even, in that selection of Bellingham on the left, playing a more left-sided role, less of the heroics with Vinny Jr. down the middle and Rodrigo down the middle. And he went through all the work that had to be done in that position, no complaints. As soon as the game comes over, he's got his Real Madrid top on with, I assume it was alluding to the possibility of a 15th European Cup victory for Real Madrid. And then he speaks, with such maturity about what's just happened, despite the fact that this is the greatest moment of his career so far. And the implications of playing in England against his old club. And it just all seems to be taken in his stride. He has incredible confidence. And I guess that's why we're predicting that this is really going to be one of the stars of the future. He just, at the minute, whatever he touches seems to go to gold.
Henry, you pointed out that headline, Kane pain. Final word on the England captain. Could this in any way be a positive for England, that Kane gets a rest and perhaps will be even more motivated in the summer?
We spoke to him early in the season, and he was talking about the possibility of a Hollywood season script for him in terms of playing for Bayern Munich and winning at Wembley, and then playing for England and winning in Berlin. What a double that would be. But look, anyone who knows Harry Kane knows that he will respond to this. But Jude Bellingham is not a star of the future. He's a star of now. And I just love the way he's so grounded. Huge credit to Birmingham, their coaching, the importance of the EFL in developing players. Huge credit to his parents. But just absolutely, England are so blessed to have a player of his substance. And it would be great to see him rampaging all over Bundesliga pitches in the summer for England.
It absolutely is. Henry, Martin, what a game. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at more of the back pages, including this in the Telegraph. Is the 777 partners takeover of Everton at risk of collapse?